Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together to talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
I'm a monkey's ass.
And I am Shane Brittany Spears.
Welcome to episode 322, Breakdown in Your House.
Break it down!
Dun-dun-dun-dun. You could have been Shitney Spears.
Yeah, no.
That was rude.
No Shitney Spears for whatever I'm trying to say. For me.
No thanks, I'll pass.
So this is the 24th In Your House, produced by the WWF. It would take place on September 27th, 1998, from the Cops Coliseum in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, with an attendance of 17,405 and a buy rate of 300K.
We're blasting on all cylinders here.
Yep. They love it.
Absolutely.
And it's cops with two P's.
Yes.
It's not just the... It'd be funny if it's just like, oh, it's the Cops Coliseum. So what do the cops need a Coliseum for?
And if you go looking for it, it's now called the First Ontario Coliseum. They've changed the name.
I imagine that...
I was waiting for it to be like the mounted police.
I assume that's the name of the bank or something in Ontario.
Who knows? I just know AEW went there in like 23. So it was like the first time that like a major promotion had a world title match had happened at that Coliseum since the show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Canada was starving for some wrestling, I guess.
Well, Hamilton doesn't get major shows very often, so.
I mean, I don't know my Canada geography very well. I know the names of the big like provinces, I guess, but I don't know where Hamilton is in Ontario.
I'm not real sure where it is.
Yeah, we don't need to look it up either.
Nope, absolutely not.
Yeah.
But what we do need to know is if Shane did what he does.
Oh, brothers. Yes. Here we are in old Hamilton, Ontario, Canada.
Just you wait.
Yeah, for Breakdown in Your House. So I did what I do in the sense that I got on the old Google machine and then I hopped in my car and drove down the interstate having a near breakdown on my own because people in Oklahoma suck at driving when it even has a little bit of moisture on the road.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. They're afraid of weather, and we have terrible weather like 80% of the year.
Yeah, it makes absolutely no sense.
Be it hot, be it windy, be it rainy.
Wait 5 minutes.
Exactly. Wait 5 minutes, it'll be something different. But yeah, I looked up there, and there's your typical Canada treats that are always something that pops out. Your anything maple, your poutines. But I figured we need a little bit of the bubbly. So I found this little creative cocktail. I guess it's not necessarily tied to Canada as far as a origin story goes, but I guess it's just really popular at different festivals that they have. But it seemed like a good day for it because, breaking kayfabe, we're recording on Memorial Day, so you need a little bit of booze on Memorial Day. It's kind of the cusp of summertime now, so we had something a little more refreshing. It's a sparkling rosé, but there's a little bit of a twist to it. I guess I should say the actual name of the cocktail is the Cotton Candy Cocktail. It starts with a couple dashes of the bitters in the bottom of your glass, and then technically it called for cotton candy skewered and then coated in a lemon zest. But I just did a little cheat method because the cotton candy that I found came in a bag and it was strawberry, blue raspberry, and lemon. So I figured it's got the lemon twist to it already. But yeah, I just stuffed a glass full of cotton candy and then poured some sparkling rosé on top. So it didn't really make a matching color for any of us. Michael's was more pink. Matt's was kind of a bluish green color, and mine has like
yours kind of just looks like
old
beer.
piss in a jar.
Yours looks like beer. Yeah. It's like beer without the bubbles.
Like your glass says ale, and it could pass off as ale.
It looks like ale.
The bitters that was originally in the glass, in my glass at least, as I went through with a little stir and gave the little bottom of the glass a stir, mine had crystallized and gave this real medicinal flavor because the bitters and the cotton candy just kind of merged together. So it was just this crunchy little crisp that was at the bottom of mine. But, I mean, flavor-wise, the drink isn't terrible. I mean, I've definitely had better things, but we've had way worse. It's as Michael likes to bring up often, there's no bullshit here.
It's not a bullshit. I mean, I am not a rosé guy, and I don't like cotton candy. I'm going to drink this, but I would describe it as sickly sweet. I always say cotton candy's for girls.
You weren't in here, but Shane learned that I'd never had cotton candy before.
Really?
Yeah, Matt had. That's why I'm like, not even at the fair, not at the circus or anything like that. But
my favorite thing about cotton candy is that it's fun that it dissolves, and then outside of that, I have no use for it, and that's why I don't like the taste of it.
And that was the magic of it. I mean, you pour the rosé on top of it, and it instantly dissolves, and you weren't sure what color you're going to end up with because it's like Easter egg.
What's
So it literally was an adventure for me because I'm not a huge rosé fan either, and then never having cotton candy before. So
Have you had? Did you try some of the?
I did try.
Okay,
I did try.
Okay.
Some
As I
by
told them,
itself.
it's better to have it in the fresh form when you're at a festival or something because it just has a better flavor to
And I
it.
was just like, they give you that huge thing of cotton candy. I'm like, I don't know if I'd like it or not. So
Yeah,
like,
well, I don't want to give them $7
spend all that money just for.
It's one of
something
those.
that I don't know if
This
I
was
like.
like $1.89 a bag, and it's fat free.
It's the best
Cholesterol free and
price
sodium
point
free.
thing for a carnival or whatever because it's even cheaper than popcorn because it's legitimately just sugar. But I never watched Sex and the City, but I know they drank Cosmos.
Yes.
This feels like the drink for a trashy version of Sex and the City, like a Philly version of Sex and the City. Is these girls trying to be fancy and drinking?
Sex and the City, shameless.
Yeah, exactly. You get the idea. But that was my thought just now.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's not the worst thing. It's just the color is, at least for me, very off-putting.
Yeah, yours is mine looks like rosé basically.
Yeah, yours has more of a rosé color because I think you had more of the strawberry cotton candy in yours. Mine was a mudded mixture of all of them. Matt definitely had more blue raspberry in his because his had a
blue tint.
Yeah, borderline toilet bowl cleaner.
Ooh, I'm not mad at it, but I'm glad that I finished
Not
it.
gonna have another one.
Yeah.
But I mean, there is a little more rosé out there if anybody needs a splash.
Well, something that would happen right around the same time as Breakdown, Britney Spears' Baby One More Time would be released the very next day.
Lick my baby back behind.
The single.
Yeah.
Single.
Yeah, I mean, this was huge for me as a, 11 or 98.
13?
I was born in 87, so...
Oh.
Yeah, you were the age that my nephew was when
So I guess
he discovered
11,
Britney.
yeah. This was a huge deal for us, and it had nothing to do with the song.
Yeah. My nephew went from being hardcore country to Britney Spears.
Yeah, never had any of the
And
CDs.
from Britney Spears to Black Sabbath.
I mean,
That's the pipeline,
that
brother.
music video awoken a lot of young gentlemen.
And I am the prime age for it. Like I said, I watched all those music videos. Never had a CD. Well, I'm like everybody else. We all agree that Toxic is good. Everybody agrees that it doesn't care about Britney Spears. That Toxic's a good song, and that's kind of where, it begins and ends musically for most people of my age.
Yeah, I took him to
At least
see
the boys.
Britney. She was playing at the Douglas County Fair outside of Omaha, Nebraska. And I remember taking my nephew Dustin to go see her then because he was 10 years old and in love and wanted to go see Britney Spears. I was like, all right, whatever, we'll go see. And this was before she became Britney Bitch and before she fully went off the deep end as far as pop diva goes because she was performing at a county fair at the time. So
Yeah, this is
I was
before this
still
song
impressed.
hit, right? Or right as.
I think it was right as.
Yeah.
She hadn't become the number one song, but she was
on the way.
Yeah, she was already on MTV.
What I truly remember is when the second music video came out and her breasts were much larger. And that video was Sometimes, the one where she's wearing the white and dancing on the beach.
I think I know what song that is, but I can't think of what song that is.
Sometimes I run, sometimes I hide, sometimes I'm scared of you, but all I really want to do is just hold you tight. I believe is the chorus.
Yep. You're
but,
very correct.
Yeah, it was a cool music video.
Oh, yeah.
And that was still before her getting, like, the second album is when she was a little older and she started, like, playing up being, like, horny.
I mean, we keep talking about the music videos. So I think the question is, without the music videos, does Britney become as big as she is?
I would say that she doesn't have the voice. She's not the greatest dancer, but the choruses are memorable.
The Britney Army is coming for you.
It's fine. It's fine. They're much smaller than the Taylor Swift Army, so I'll be okay.
They are the moms of the Taylor Swift Army.
All right, yeah. And they probably all open carry at this point.
Or, they watch Britney today and they do knife dances in their foyer.
But I think that it would have not been obviously as big, but I think that she still would have got at least a couple of hits because, like I said, the choruses are memorable. But also, it might be because I watched the music videos.
I don't doubt that she'd be as big as she is today because, as part of the Rainbow Coalition, we gays, and I say we collectively because I'm not really a big Britney Spears fan whatsoever, but for some reason the gays always flock to certain types of musicians, and Britney would have been a gay icon with or without music videos because she's got a good beat in a lot of her songs. Yeah.
Because the music's fun.
They want something to dance to.
It's fun.
I completely
it's light.
agree. I think she would have still been big without the music videos, just because of the sheer fact that, like, we've all just admitted that none of us had the CD.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I'm not saying that we're, like, the forefront of taste back in 1998 by any means, but, like...
I didn't go see that shows in the 90s.
But, like, I knew this song, like, it was... Like,
oh, yeah.
And I didn't really even listen to the radio at that point.
Yeah. I mean, I was just, like, watching TRL after school every day.
Yep. TRL for sure.
But, I mean, yeah, it would have worked either way, but, like, that was the thing, is music videos were still a real thing back then. Now the real question is, like, if those songs dropped today, would they work? And it's like, well, no, because pop music has evolved, and I don't know if it's for better or worse, but this would come off as corny. If this dropped today, people would be like, oh, well, that's cheesy, compared to a, like, Dua Lipa or a Taylor Swift or
you'd have
whatever.
The one side of the world, like, she's wanting to be hit. We need to save her. Because, hit me, baby, one more time.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Yeah, I guess so. I never even thought about it.
I don't know. I've always been described as being a bad gay, but, I mean, I went to see Britney Spears.
Well, I
went to see Backstreet Boys.
But what were you supposed to be seeing?
I just...
What about that makes you bad?
I get called a bad gay because I'm not really into I don't follow her fandom. I'm not a Swiftie.
Madonna's better anyway.
Drag Race.
Madonna's better. I don't care.
Exactly. And that's
just
the other thing
Madonna.
Too, is I'm too old for Britney Spears.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, you should be.
And that was the connection I was going to make there was when Madonna first started, she didn't have a music video. All she had was songs playing in the clubs, and she made it before the videos. People wanted to see who she was, wanted to hear more from her. So I think Britney would have had the same reaction if it was just music that had played in a club.
I honestly think that if I had seen a Madonna music video before I had heard her music, I probably wouldn't have liked her because I didn't think Madonna was that big.
Oh no, she was a babe for a while. I mean, Madonna also came from, like, the gay club and, like, club music scene and kind of brought it to the rest of the world, but with a polished edge. Like, Holiday is a club song.
You just said, I think, the reason why I think she would have still hit it big. Yeah. It's because she had the Disney. She had the Disney following, and they were going to follow her to just, like, the reason why NSYNC, having and Christina, like all those.
Madonna was edgy. This was nothing what Britney Spears was doing was particularly like. Madonna came from, like I said, like the gay New York scene. She's Italian, and one of her big early hit singles is "Like a Virgin," a song about getting fucked by a guy with a bigger dick, which is crazy.
She made it through the wilderness.
Yeah.
Now, Britney, music-wise, I mean, she had a big following, but I feel bad also, or I wish something would have been different, because it's like when she came along, it made it okay for the music industry to completely sexualize underage girls.
Everyone.
Yeah, they all did that. I was a kid, so I didn't really have an opinion about it at the time, but I can't imagine that if you were older being like, come on, guys.
Yeah, I mean, we had just crossed the line where it was okay for Shania Twain to show her belly button, and then all of a sudden, here comes a 15, 16-year-old dressed in, a stripper gear.
Yeah, well, I mean, she started with a belly shirt. Stripper Gear was album 2.
Well, she dressed in a schoolgirl outfit.
Yeah.
Which
that's true.
Stripper gear.
that is.
It's every dude.
Yeah, that's just kind of
fantasy.
It's kind of that whole thing's a bit of a issue. But hey, now there's whole YouTube's dedicated to finding those guys. The world's a crazy place.
Well, let's talk some breakdown.
Break it down.
WWF Attitude Package comes on before transitioning into a video with images of tanks, soldiers, Stalin, and JFK.
Don't forget Martin Luther King. That one really got me laughing. It's like Stalin, Martin Luther King, JFK, and it says master plan on the screen. It's like, what are we doing here?
It's all about McMahon's master plan.
I know, it's about like, what about MLK and JFK?
You had a dream.
Yeah. Different dream than Stalin.
McMahon is sick and tired of watching Austin with the WWF title, guaranteeing Stone Cold will lose the championship. Vince will never forgive or forget, so he'll unleash the most destructive force in the Federation. And McMahon didn't screw Austin. Stone Cold screwed Stone Cold. Stridex presents Breakdown in Your House, with a computer-animated car going down a road until it skids to a stop.
Yeah, it looks like a brightly colored Need for Speed 1 on PlayStation.
Pyro goes off as Jim Ross welcomes everyone to the show, joined by Jerry the King Lawler. And they discuss the matches on the show, especially the main event, where Undertaker and Kane must pin Austin, and not each other. And if anyone interferes, Stone Cold will be stripped of the title.
Sounds like a master plan to me.
So we go to our first match. Edge versus Owen Hart. And the crowd chants
Nugget
at Owen as he enters, followed by our competitors trading holds and takedowns, until Edge sends Hart outside with a hurricanrana and a clothesline. And Owen avoids a plancha, but he eats a baseball slide, allowing Edge to dive off the apron, only for Hart to counter it into a power slam on the floor. Back in the ring, Owen controls with suplexes, a backbreaker, neckbreaker, and a chinlock, fending off Edge's rallies when Hart would nail a wheel kick and an enziguri. And Owen heads up top, but Edge meets him in the corner to deliver an inverted electric chair facebuster, a flapjack, and a swinging neckbreaker for a 2 count. And Edge slams down Hart before leaping off the second rope, only for Owen to have moved. But Edge lands on his feet and waits for Hart to turn right into a DDT.
Damn.
For a near fall. And Owen floats over a back body drop to go for a suplex, which Edge floats over and nails a bridging Northern Lights suplex for a 2 count. Edge goes for another suplex, only for Hart to float over again and deliver a bridging German suplex for a near fall. Now Owen whips his opponent to the corner and charges in, only for Edge to avoid, causing Hart to crash down to the mat. So Edge places Owen on the turnbuckle and climbs up, but Hart blocks and front suplexes his opponent down to the mat. Owen then leaps off, only for Edge to get his boot up, which Hart sees and stops short, grabbing his opponent's legs and looks to lock in the sharpshooter. But Edge cradles him up for a 2 count. Spinning heel kick by Edge when a mysterious blonde man jumps over the barricade and stands at ringside, until Edge sees him and asks, "What are you doing here?" Now with the distraction, allows Hart to hit a rolling prawn hold for the pin and the win.
Who could it be now?
Post-match, the mystery man leaves through the crowd with Edge giving chase.
The match was fun. It's nice to see Owen get to work with somebody who's trying to prove themselves, because there's a lot of energy, and what do we love more than a curtain jerker? A curtain jerker with energy.
And Owen.
And Owen's probably where you're gonna get it, as long as he's having fun. We don't want to see Owen Hart versus Mark Henry. That sounds like watching paint dry.
We go to the back where Doc Hendricks and Sable are on the superstar line. And they're getting exclusive comments from the winners and losers, while Doc says he has the best seat in the house next to sexy Sable, only for her to believe she is too much for Hendricks to handle.
Uh-oh, Jerry Springer ain't the only one that's too hot to handle.
I mean, Doc Hendricks, he could probably handle it with the amount of cocaine I imagine he uses.
You wouldn't need her for it. He'd forget she was there.
So we go to our second match. Too much of too sexy Brian Christopher and too hot Scott Taylor versus Scorpio and Al Snow with Head.
Couple ECW boys.
We haven't seen Al since King of the Ring 98, episode 309, while JR shows us footage from Raw, where Snow would be reinstated after defeating Sergeant Slaughter, followed by the Stooges beating him down, only for Scorpio to run down and make the save.
I found it interesting that JR talks Al Snow's previous gimmicks so openly. Leaf Cassidy and Avatar. I don't even remember that one.
Yeah, we never saw that one.
Okay, I was trying to remember if we had or not.
So Too Cold starts it off with Too Hot, trading arm ringers and strikes, when Taylor hits a pump handle suplex and moonwalks his way to the corner to tag in Too Sexy, while Snow is also brought in. And they trade strikes as well, and Al knocks down Christopher with headbutts and a clothesline, sending him to make a tag, only for Too Hot to be back body dropped and clotheslined as well. Scorpio returns with multiple corner clotheslines, followed by Snow tossing him a chair, with Too Cold setting it up, but the ref reprimands him, allowing Al to jump in the ring for a double jump wheel kick. Air Snow, anybody?
Air Snow. I mean, recently departed Sabu. The issue with Sabu is that he would not work inside of big wrestling, so everybody just stole his shit and kind of did it better and a little more reined in. There was no other world for Sabu than ECW,
No.
whether we like it or not. God rest his soul.
Scorpio tries one as well, only to slip on the chair. Only a dropkick that sends Too Much into each other, falling to the mat, with Taylor delivering a headbutt to Christopher.
There's Scorpio, I remember.
Yeah, I know. It's like, man. Yeah, he just can't. He can do the thing, and typically when he does it, it looks good, but his hit rate is never as strong as we all want it to be. No. And he probably would have a little bit more money in the bank if the hit rate was stronger.
I don't know if we'd have Jeff Hardy without him, though, because he seems to have taken that slop and made it his own.
Well, yeah, he made it his own, and now his spine is fused together.
Yeah.
Too Cold with a thrust kick to Scott, while Al goes for a chair shot to Brian on the outside, but he misses and hits the ring post. And they brawl at ringside when Christopher goes for a double jump splash using the steel, only for Snow to avoid, sending Brian into the railing, while Scorpio is climbed to the top rope for a splash onto Taylor inside the ring for a 2 count. Al now leaps off the guardrail with a moonsault onto Brian, while Too Cold tosses Scott out to the apron, where Taylor flips over Scorpio, only to run right into a clothesline from Snow.
Snow line.
And Too Cold heads up top for a moonsault, when Christopher makes it back to the apron to knock him down, sending Scorpio crashing out to the floor, where Bryan continues with a suplex. And Too Sexy holds Too Cold for Too Hot to springboard out with a plancha onto Scorpio, followed by a double back body drop back inside the ring. And Too Much keeps up the attack with a bulldog and goes for a second double back body drop. But Too Cold flips out to land on his feet and drop kicks his opponents before crawling to his corner for the hot tag. Al cleans house with Head, only to accidentally take out Scorpio as well.
Oh no.
But he returns to making his opponents pay with Head to Taylor's crotch for a near fall, as Christopher breaks it up with a Tennessee Jam, making a cover of his own, but Too Cold breaks it up with a top rope axe handle. And Scorpio tries making a pin, with Scott breaking it up, only to then back into a snowplow for the pin. And the win.
It was nice to see something that looked like a tag match.
Yeah.
Like a more, I mean, they still did some wild spots and used a chair, but it felt more like a traditional tag match. And there was some slop, but it felt fresh in a stale tag team division.
Yep, and old Scott Taylor has really found his personality in the whole Too Much tag team, because he started off as very, very tame, and now he is very, very, very much as annoying as Brian Christopher.
Yeah, and he will definitely we'll definitely see
they're
too much.
Oh
Yes.
yeah. And he is meeting the name and exceeding it.
Oh yeah.
And he will continue to do so, from what I remember.
Oh yeah. He's about to. Well, it's been a while before he wows the world with his worm.
So we go to the back. Michael Cole is there with the Demons of Destruction.
Yeah, I don't remember them being the Demons of Destruction. I've always just had the Brothers of Destruction name in my head.
They were going with Demons of Destruction when they first put them together.
Yeah, they were like alliteration. That's good, right?
Yeah.
And Michael says that Taker and Kane's strategy is simple. Work as a unit to destroy Steve Austin. But which brother will become champion?
Bum, bum, bum.
And the dead man says that's no one's business. He and his brother have an understanding, only for Cole to not understand, as there can only be one winner. And Undertaker continues that all you will see is the annihilation of Austin before grumbling and rolling his eyes.
Gregorian chant.
So we go to our third match. Marvelous Marc Mero with Jacqueline versus Droz. And they announce Miss Jackie as the WWF Women's Champion.
Ooh.
It's the first time we've heard about this belt since Medusa dropped it in a trash can on WCW Monday Night Nitro in 1995. Jackie had won it the previous Monday on Raw in a match versus Sable.
See, I just want to know who else was in that
Division.
There was no tournament.
It's just the two of them.
Them two fought in a match, and they went, "This is for the women's championship." If you notice, she doesn't have the belt
Because there probably isn't one.
Yeah.
because they haven't finished making it yet.
Yeah, this is obviously an excuse for, my assumption is the next pay-per-view, I don't know this for sure, where Sable gets it and beats her and holds the belt up. And hoorah, Sable. The only other two women they could have used is Luna, which we would all love to see,
There you go. I was like,
or
who else is there?
China, and that's kind of the only other women.
Terry's right there.
She's not going to wrestle.
She wrestles 29 matches in her career, sir.
Yeah, and how many of them were evening gown matches?
I don't know.
That wasn't the question.
Yeah. She's got 40 grand she's got 40 grand chilling above her ribs.
She knows not to get it over China because China's
So does
already
the rest
shaking
of
the
them.
ball.
I guess so. Yeah, that's true. Jackie might have 60 grand. Those things are wild.
So we haven't seen Droz since Raw of June 29th, 1998. That's episode 310. And our two competitors trade strikes to begin, with Mero bailing to the floor to regroup once Darren has the advantage. but Droz gives chase, running Marc into the railing and ring steps before returning to the ring. And Mero answers back with a knee lift and choking on the ropes. Even Jacqueline gets involved, followed by Darren firing up with a leaping shoulder tackle and a clothesline, only to charge into a corner where Marc back body drops him out to the floor before leaping out of the ring with a somersault plancha.
Thud. So there's a thud there.
Now back inside, Mero looks to keep up the attack with a slingshot splash, only for Droz to get his knees up, allowing Darren to capitalize with strikes, a Manhattan drop, and a power slam for the pin. And no, Jackie puts Marc's boot on the ropes. And Droz starts to argue with Jacqueline, which gives Mero the opportunity to deliver a cheap shot and choke his opponent with wrist tape. And the ref begins admonishing Marc, but this just allows Jackie to leap in off the top rope with her high heel right to Droz's forehead.
Oh no.
Mero then body slams Darren down, followed by heading up top for the Marvelocity.
The name kills me.
Which is the wild thing.
It's the shooting star press.
Yeah. For the pin. And the win.
And a very good-looking shooting star press. But a bad-looking shooting star press typically means someone should probably go to the hospital.
Yeah.
If it looks good, like you can't really... It either looks good or it looks bad and somebody might die. There's one or the other.
Yeah, he's always too close to the ropes on it.
He's close to the ropes on it,
and
but...
It gives me that... The pit of my stomach cannot handle the Marvelocity at all. Because it's too close for comfort.
He must have like tight hamstrings because he gets up there.
Mm-hmm.
It's clear. It's clean as hell.
He just needs to get just a little bit more distance.
I think if he got the distance, that might be the problem. We all saw Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
He tries to go a little too far.
But you know what?
He doesn't.
Sable also saw Brock Lesnar, and you know who's with him now? Her.
I mean, maybe. Who knows? Who knows what's going on in that world?
And he's not letting her leave. I shouldn't put it that way. But it's going to cost him a whole lot more money if she leaves than if she stays.
Yeah, so you're saying he's really good at apologizing?
Probably.
He called Paul Heyman up to help him talk that one over.
Or he called old VKM.
Yeah, borrowed a few more bucks.
Yeah. Can you pay this off for me?
We get a commercial for a DX t-shirt.
Ooh.
Buy it now.
Suck it.
It's crazy that kids were wearing Suck It shirts in 1998. Children.
Yeah. We then go to our fourth match. Vader versus Bradshaw in a Falls Count Anywhere match.
It's time.
Before the big Texan makes his way out, Michael Cole catches up with him in the back, saying this match won't be pretty, with Bradshaw saying, "Hell no, it won't. Survival of the fittest, not the fattest."
They're really trying to make old Bradshaw shine there after getting his ass kicked in the Brawl for All. Because
I mean, my thoughts exactly.
I'll give it to him. He looked better than I had seen him look ever, possibly, in this match.
I agree.
As far as just his look, but yeah, they're
I know.
really trying.
It's like, oh, you guys don't remember that thing where he just got his like jaw, his head spun around like a cartoon.
Yep.
And they zoomed in on him like legitimately with like birds chirping around his head.
Yeah, let's have him face Vader because
he doesn't
Hart
hit.
Doesn't need to match.
Also, Vader doesn't hit hard or anything.
So the Texan starts with forearms and a corner clothesline, followed by a body slam and an elbow drop for a 2 count. The Mastodon reverses a whip to nail an avalanche attack and an elbow drop of his own, before a splash for a near fall. Bradshaw answers back with a big boot and a clothesline that sends Vader out to the floor, with the Texan following out to run his opponent into the ring post.
Posted.
And the timekeeper's table, head first, before using the bell to clock the Mastodon as well.
Classic.
Bradshaw keeps up the attack with a head slam into an announce table and a short arm clothesline for a 2 count. The Texan then sets Vader against a ring post and looks to deliver a right hand, only for the Mastodon to duck, causing Bradshaw to hit all steel a pair of times.
Posted.
Vader fights back with headbutts and tosses the Texan into the ring steps, followed by smashing the steps over the back of Bradshaw. The Mastodon continues strikes before they return to the ring, where the Texan ducks some punches to deliver his own, followed by a back suplex. And Bradshaw charges in with a clothesline, but Vader ducks, sending the Texan tumbling out to the floor, leading to the Mastodon continuing the punishment with stiff shots and running his opponent into the railing for a near fall. And Bradshaw is whipped into the apron and dropped with a clothesline, followed by being rolled back in where Vader leaps off the second rope with a splash.
Vader splash.
And a Vader bomb.
Vader bomb.
For the pin. And no, the Texan kicks out.
Vader can't believe it, and I'm upset.
So the Mastodon goes for a clothesline, only for Bradshaw to duck and bounce off the ropes with a clothesline from hell for the pin. And no, Vader kicks out. The Texan's mad, so he delivers another before hitting a neck breaker for the pin.
And the win. Who does this guy think he is? Stan Hansen? I mean, obviously that's who he thinks he is. Yeah.
Well, he delivered 2 clotheslines from hell and he still couldn't get the win. He had to go to a neck breaker.
Yeah.
The
Eat sauce, Bradshaw.
The clothesline targets the neck. He is the Mastodon. Did you guys notice? I saw an Austin Sucks sign in the crowd, and I was like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it!"
Hot take.
Yeah,
I know.
I've seen that.
Yeah. This guy is this the guy that created Reddit?
Kevin Kelly and Dr. Tom Pritchard are in the WWF.com room. They're interviewing Jason Sensation, asking him for his predictions about the rest of the matches, with him answering with imitations of The Rock, Road Dogg, Jeff Jarrett, and The Undertaker, even flipping his eyelids back to do the dead man impersonation.
He's got some pretty good ones.
I think the Taker one was pretty good.
Yep.
I think that might have been the best.
Yep. I was trying to figure out. I didn't hear them say his name as he was doing it, so I was trying to figure out who the fuck he was.
Yeah.
He looked familiar.
So you remember we didn't watch it.
I assume he's friends of Todd Pettengill.
When the
Just a radio
DX
guy.
came out as the Nation of Domination, that whole skit, he was with them. He was the 5th member in that skit as X-Pac.
Okay.
Or who?
As
Owen.
Owen.
He came
As
as Owen.
Yeah, he was like, I'm not doing the thing where we put the makeup on.
No. Sean Waltman was like, "Yep, give it to me. I'll be Mark. Ms. Ark Henry."
Yeah, I'll put a pillow under my shirt.
So he had the weird fake nose and everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's that guy.
Okay. Because in my memory, that was Spike Dudley.
That's funny.
So we go to our 5th match. D'Lo Brown versus Gangrel. And Brown had lost the European Championship to X-Pac earlier in the week on Raw, which JR shows us footage of. And then the Vampire Warrior attacks as soon as he is in the ring,
After he spits that blood from the cup.
only for D'Lo to duck. But Gangrel responds with a back elbow, chops, and a suplex. The Vampire Warrior keeps up the attack with elbow drops, turnbuckle smashes, but Brown fights back to nail a leg lariat, a low blow, and a running powerbomb for a 2 count. And D'Lo argues with the ref about the count momentarily before missing a charge into a corner. So Gangrel rallies with kicks and goes for a DDT, only for Brown to block and deliver a snap suplex for a near fall, which causes D'Lo to argue with Jimmy Corderas once again.
I like that D'Lo's gotten more boisterous. You can hear everything he's saying in the ring because he's just yelling and being a cocky little shithead. Love him. I love the JR also points out that he's been wearing this chest protector since like June.
The Vampire Warrior with 4 arms and a clothesline, but he then telegraphs a back body drop. So Brown kicks him away to regain control, taking Gangrel to the top, only for the Vampire Warrior to shove D'Lo off to the mat that gets a 2 count. And Brown ducks a clothesline to hit one of his own, followed by a swinging sit-out Uranagi and applying a chinlock. Gangrel answers back with a hot shot, a back body drop, and a flying clothesline for a near fall, as Marc Henry appears at ringside. and D'Lo reverses a whip, sending the Vampire Warrior to the ropes, where Marc low bridges them, causing Gangrel to crash outside, with Henry ramming him into the ring post.
Posted.
Marc then rolls the Vampire Warrior back in, where Brown delivers Sky High for the pin and the win. Post-match, Gangrel grabs his goblet and spits blood into Henry's eyes, followed by a back suplex and an impaler DDT to D'Lo, before leaving to the back as Marc wiped his eyes on the apron.
And JR tells us this was Gangrel's first loss in the WWF.
Yeah.
Whether that's true or not, found it interesting. It's like, oh,
I'd say it probably was. He's only been around for
yeah,
a couple
and
months or
yeah,
so.
yeah, I know, but we all know about Goldberg's record or whatever. Sometimes they make stuff up. I do love Gangrel and D'Lo, and D'Lo has, I think, a little bit more innate talent, but both are not attractive enough to ever escape the mid card.
No. Like Gangrel, his gimmick, I think, could have taken him further
If
had
the
he
Undertaker
had
didn't
more
already
backup.
exist.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Because, I mean,
he's a solid wrestler.
in this match alone, just his spitting the blood, just the look of him at the end of the match, that was enough to draw me to want to see more from him.
And as a kid, like, watching this, I came in at this era, and where Gangrel was, like, on the undercard of, like, every show you watched. The intro was awesome and incredibly memorable, and I was like, oh, well, this is fun, and it's, like, creepy or whatever. And I didn't even, in my mind, compare him to The Undertaker at all, even though I was obviously very well aware of The Undertaker. I was like, oh, no, they're just two different things. So, that's a good argument for it not being too similar, because if you're, trying to get, sell Mountain Dew to a fifth grader.
This'll do it.
This'll do it. We're not that smart.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, is the Impaler DDT later known as the Execution? I'm trying to think if I remember the right move.
I mean, it's basically the Death Rider, all those lifting DDTs.
Okay.
I mean,
I wanna say
it's just a different version of Mankind's double arm DDT.
Okay. Yeah, I want to say Edge later turns it into his Execution.
Damn, that's the sweaty name.
Yeah.
Ross then sends it to a video package for our next match, where we see Rock, Shamrock, and Mankind having a match to become the #1 contender on Raw, when the Brothers of Destruction would ruin the match for everyone as Vince and Shane, who was on commentary, Shane McMahon, cheered their actions. Now Michael Cole's in the back with Ken and asking how far Shamrock will go to win, with Ken saying he will go as far as it takes, that he came to the WWF to become a champion. Every time he has tried, he's got burned, so he'll take his frustrations out on his opponents. Doc Hendrick is with Rocky in his locker room, but he's immediately told to shut up, that he doesn't give two pieces of monkey crap about Shamrock's frustrations, followed by hoping his opponents have sugar in their testes and promising to lay the smackdown on their monkey asses. And when the smoke clears, those jabronis will know he's forever the people's champ. We then go to Kevin Kelly, who's in the basement with Foley, letting him know that Ken is looking for blood, while The Rock seeks glory. But what does Mankind desire? And Foley responds that he wants an end to world hunger, but that won't happen in this bout. So he agrees to overlook the stupidity of the question. And he's seen many stupid things in his life, but none as stupid as the people's elbow. Mankind then claims he trained in a museum with spaceman Frank Hickey, and he's ready. But then wonders about Rocky's sugar testes comment, asking if it's a breakfast cereal.
Sugar testes.
He had a line that I found incredibly rude, where he said that he's seen a lot of stupid things in the world, and one of them was the president of the U.S. sacrificing security of the nation for a girl that even he, talking about himself, Mankind, would have turned down in high school. I'm like, that's crazy. Well, leave her alone, goddammit. She wasn't ugly. That poor girl got just so stepped on. As a kid, I thought it was funny, but as an adult, learning more about the situation and everything, you're just like, what the fuck, world? Leave this young lady alone.
Yep.
She just sucked a little dick. Everybody wanted that.
So we go to our 6th match. Ken Shamrock versus Mankind versus The Rock in a steel cage to become the number 1 contender for the WWF Championship.
You got to run it back. Undertaker got involved. Another thing from that clip that I noticed and appreciated was that The Rock attacks back even while selling like fear or trepidation to Kane and Undertaker, but The Rock from 1 month ago would have just rolled out of the ring and walked back and been a heel. And we're going to very shortly hear how everybody feels about The Rock now. And I think it's those little moments like that we saw with Stone Cold, that you pepper him in and you make it seamless. And no one remembers that they ever hated the guy because he like slowly worked his way. It wasn't quick, but it's like that was so out of character. If you looked at the guy from a month or 2 months ago, he would have just been like, fuck you, I'm leaving.
So the match can be won by pin, submission, or escaping to the floor.
Any way you want. Do whatever you like.
All the ways.
Shamrock goes after Rocky as soon as he's in the ring, growling away, only for The Rock to answer back. So Foley looks to walk out the door, but Rocky stops him with turnbuckle smashes. And Ken rejoins the fray, leading to all 3 men trading strikes, with Mankind delivering a running knee to Shamrock, before The Rock nails a clothesline to Foley and looks to leave, only for Ken to stop him with knees and kicks. And Mankind's taken down with more turnbuckle smashes and chokes from Shamrock, followed by an ab stretch, when Rocky locks an ab stretch on Ken, but hip tosses allows everyone to escape.
That spot always looks so stupid.
And all 3 men stare each other down, with The Rock looking to work together with Foley, only to cheap shot Mankind when Shamrock attacks from behind to slow the momentum. And Foley starts climbing the cage, but Rocky pulls him off to the mat, leading to Ken and The Rock exchanging strikes, which Shamrock wins and wants to walk out the door, only for Rocky to grab him by the boot to drag Ken back into the ring. And Shamrock's being teamed up on by his opponents with stomps, chokes, throwing Ken into the cage before a shot to the gut and a running knee lift. But The Rock then turns on Mankind with a clothesline. And Rocky starts to climb the cage, only for Shamrock to stop the attempt, followed by working the leg of Foley. And Ken and The Rock team up for a double clothesline of Mankind when Shamrock would apply the ankle lock. So Rocky strikes Ken from behind to break it up and deliver turnbuckle smashes. Foley's back in the fight, now teaming up with Shamrock to work over The Rock, who seems to be the crowd favorite at this point.
Yep. Yeah, and The Rock kind of just was like, yeah, we'll team up, and immediately sold him out.
But Ken clotheslines Mankind in a corner, only for Foley to answer back by helping with a double back body drop to Rocky. And they take turns nailing The Rock with elbows, boots, and a double snap suplex, followed by a shot to the gut, and Mankind goes for another running knee lift. But Rocky counters with a clothesline, which Shamrock then hits a clothesline of his own on The Rock. Foley then telegraphs a backdrop, allowing Rocky to nail a DDT, before a float over DDT on Ken as well, followed by slamming both men down to deliver a double People's Elbow.
Boo.
And Rock climbs up the cage, only for both men to catch him by a foot to slow him down, when a Mankind forearm causes Rocky to drop jabronis first on the ropes. Ken stomps away on The Rock, but he answers back with a low blow to Shamrock and a rock bottom to Foley for the 2 count as Ken breaks the pin up.
I mean, the Shamrock sucks chant, and I'm like, now it's officially over for Ken Shamrock. He even got some cheers when he came out at the beginning of this match. He started stomping on the Rock. People don't want that. Shamrock sucks chant, and I shed a tear for the most believably intense man in the company. Sorry, Austin.
Shamrock with a leaping back elbow and strikes as the crowd lets Ken know that he sucks. When Rocky fires back with a clothesline and turnbuckle smashes. Only for Shamrock to duck another clothesline attempt to nail a belly-to-belly suplex and apply the ankle lock, which Mankind breaks up. Foley then climbs to the top of the cage when The Rock prevents his escape momentarily, but ends up knocking Rocky back down to the mat with strikes, before deciding to leap off with an elbow drop that misses as Rock rolls to safety. And Ken uses the opportunity to crawl his way to the door, only for Mankind to prevent him from doing so. But Shamrock does grab a chair as he's dragged back into the cage. And Ken kicks Foley away and looks to swing the steel, only for Mankind to move, so Shamrock hits all cage, followed by Foley nailing a double arm DDT, grabbing the weapon and clocking Ken with it. Mankind again starts to climb to the top of the cage, making it over the top, but The Rock rolls on top of Shamrock for the pin and the win. Post-match, Foley turns to the announcers to ask what happened, so they explain it to him, leading to Mankind pulling chunks of hair out in frustration, while a bloody Rocky leaves to the back.
The Ken unprotected headshot was nasty, that chair shot. And this is what I don't like. The door has to stay locked because this all falls apart. I understand why Mick Foley climbed the cage. It's like, oh, so he can do that big elbow drop and miss it. But why would he climb it to leave later if people have been trying to leave through the door the whole time? Now he's just an idiot that should have went through the door instead of climbed over, and that's why he lost. I know people don't really probably think about that while they're watching this and pumped as it's happening. Outside of that, I thought this was great and fun.
Agreed.
But it's over for Ken, and I'm sad.
Oh yeah,
it's like that was his death. That was like just a railroad spike through like his career.
Yeah, if they wanted him to do any more, he wouldn't have actually got the pin. Rock would have slid out the door while Ken was knocked out in the middle of the ring or something. But nope, either that or this is just them hopefully putting the final touches on the Rock and Ken rivalry, and we're about to get onto some more important, better things with old Rocky.
It was a number one contenders match, so but it's a shame that like Mick Foley doesn't lose anything here. He could get shot in the face and people would still cheer him next week while he's wearing an eye patch.
Yep.
But it's a shame that watching this was like Ken Shamrock is like Ahmed Johnson 2.0, where this worked out better, but they still weren't willing to follow through. And a lot of it has to do with that he doesn't have the personality of The Rock. Because as Mick Foley said, the people's elbow is the stupidest thing he's ever seen. And as a fifth grader, we all thought it was pretty cool because the crowd was loud and he looked cool and he was having a fun time. But I rolled my eyes at it when we did the double people's elbow in this match because it was just a bit much. But
yep, I mean, we've got a porn star wrestler getting BJs off camera on previous shows, but here's The Rock with the rock bottom, making it look like it's the most electrifying, deadly move in the history of wrestling.
Rock bottom, like the safest finisher outside of like Rainmaker.
The Miz modeled himself after the right person.
We then go to a commercial for Judgment Day, where we see highlights of competitors all bloody and doing dangerous moves. We then go back to JR and the King, where they start to talk our next match, as Ken is still in the ring throwing a fit, grabbing a chair and smashing it against ring steps, and he looks to hit someone, but luckily doesn't. But Ross finally sends it to a video package on that next match, where we see footage of Dustin Runnels' pleas for decency on WWF TV, mixing it with clips of Val Venis' dirty jokes and antics. And Runnels has had enough, so he jumped Val, only for Venis to get payback, filming sex tapes with Terry Runnels, causing Dustin to vow to make Val to pay for his adultery, while Venis promised to steal Runnels' dignity.
That's a tongue twister. Vow to make vow. Vow to make vow, vow to make vow.
So we get our 7th match, Dustin Runnels versus Val Venis. And Dustin prays before his opponent arrives, while Val greets the ladies from the stage.
Hello, ladies.
Before addressing Runnels, letting him know that there's one thing he's been saying a lot lately about his wife. Here she comes.
Oh, snap.
Here she comes again.
And with those words, Terry Runnels arrives to remove Venis' towel, as Dustin begs for them to stop, even praying again.
Yeah, pray it away.
Which leads to Val sneaking in from behind to nail a spine buster. And Runnels answers back with a face buster and a powerbomb, but he's knocked to the floor by a back elbow, with Venis giving chase to deliver a clothesline and strikes. Now back in the ring, Dustin fires up with a back body drop, mounted punches, only to run into a boot in a corner, allowing Val to regain control with knees to the gut and a side Russian leg sweep. And Venis works the back with a camel clutch, chin locks, and chokes, taking the fight outside to drop Runnels on the announce table, before returning to attempt a suplex, but it's blocked and reversed by Dustin. And Val avoids an elbow drop to regain control, going back to the chin lock as Terry looks on with desire in her eyes.
In a very longing way. You missed the part where Val, of course, grinds over Dustin in the ring, and then Terry grinds standing on the floor, and the crowd goes nuts for one of those two things.
Maybe both.
Maybe both. Val's a good-looking guy.
Shane's gonna swoon for one of those things.
I mean, maybe he's not a Val Venis guy. Val Venis he's a handsome guy.
He's better.
Just making an example.
No.
Yeah. The long greasy hair is very much they're going at the 70s porn star thing.
I'm telling you, when Val goes to old right to censor,
that's the Val for you.
He can have it.
Runnels rallies to his feet, only for Venis to nail a clothesline for a 2 count, followed by going for a Uranagi, which Dustin counters into a DDT for a near fall. And Runnels heads up top, but Val meets him there with right hands and looking for the superplex, only to be blocked, so Venis just drops Dustin with a front suplex onto the floor. Runnels gets rolled back in, where he reverses a whip to toss Val out to the floor, where Terry consoles and embraces him. So Dustin yells at them and argues with his wife, allowing Venis to sneak in with a roll-up that gets a 2 count. Now Val whips Runnels to the ropes, but Dustin bounces off to deliver a bulldog, making the cover for the pin. And no, the ref only counts to 2, even though Venis never kicked out.
Bum bum bum. That's nothing. That's not going to go.
It was a botch.
They just screwed up. Give him a pass.
The ref has made an error.
I mean, no offense, but Dustin's probably just high.
Runnels' whip is then reversed, allowing Val to hit a power slam and multiple elbow drops, before flying off the top with a money shot for the pin and the win. Post-match, Venis and Terry make out the ring, while Dustin walks away crying, with JR calling it heartbreaking.
Really is heartbreaking what old Dustin has become with this whatever the fuck character it is, because I miss me the Dustin Rhodes.
I mean,
not really a fan of Dustin Runnels.
We can all agree that we like Gold Dust, but we prefer Dustin, no gimmick, strapping cowboy that can work But
give me the cowboy that's in the ring kicking ass with Austin.
yeah, that would be great. But that's just not the way things work out for him.
No.
And I mean, hey, from what I heard, he goes from being sick to his stomach to 7 somewhere else, and we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah, and then he does nothing but 8 and 8 and 8 and 8.
Woo!
Rawson changes the topic to Judgment Day in your house, followed by sending it to a video package, where we see footage of Jeff Jarrett injuring Road Dogg's throat with a broken guitar from Raw a couple of weeks ago.
That's the one where he broke the guitar and then just kind of held it together and attacked again.
And we then see Billy Gunn being beaten down by the Disciples of Apocalypse after a match on Sunday Night Heat earlier in the evening, when X-Pac and Jesse James would come to his aid, leading to Double J and Southern Justice running down to attack DX.
It was not Southern Justice, it was the Disciples of Apocalypse?
That's who he was being beat down.
Okay.
First.
Okay, on TV. I was like, I did not track them while watching the show. I thought we were done with them, but everybody needs an undercard for television.
Well, so the reason he was in this match on Sunday Night Heat was...
they're Heat relegated at this point. Good point.
They're main eventers on Heat.
That Austin needed a tag team partner on the Raw before, and no one would come out and help him except for Billy Gunn. So then Billy Gunn got punished and forced to be in a match on Sunday Night Heat on the pre-show before the pay-per-view, even though he had a match
here
on the pay-per-view.
But he was the only one that had balls enough to
which was just a weird
Austin.
Like, it's obvious that they're trying to make Billy Gunn the guy, like
a guy.
a guy, but we know how that works.
Yeah. Sorry. Billy.
I mean, everybody knows who he is.
5 years later, perhaps.
There's people who watched wrestling for 6 months in their life, and they still remember Mr. Ass. They don't remember his name.
He's a guy.
Yeah.
He's never going to be the guy.
No.
No matter what title or gimmick you put on him, he's Mr. Ass. He's an ass man. He's daddy ass. That's that's about as big
we
as
all
he's gonna
love
get.
Mr. Ass.
He's a solid worker. And, a handsome gentleman that deserves the name Mr. Ass. His ass is worthy of it.
He's father of the ass boys, even.
He's still doing ass gimmicks to this day.
Right. He's a scissoring ass daddy now.
Jesus Christ.
We go to our 8th match. Double J, Jeff Jarrett, and Southern Justice of Dennis Knight and Marc Canterbury versus X-Pac and the New Age Outlaws of Road Dogg Jesse James and Badass Billy Gunn. And as Jarrett makes his way to the ring, JR talks about the new haircut, ring attire, and attitude, before X-Pac makes his entrance by himself, only for the Outlaws to jump out of the crowd to clear the ring so they can have everyone say those 2 words.
Oh, I thought you wanted me to say it.
I mean, you can if you want to.
Yeah, they say suck it, and the whole crowd says suck it.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy in hindsight.
Double J jumps back in to attack the Kid to get the match started with strikes and a drop kick, but X-Pac counters a Hurricanrana with a sit-out powerbomb to slow the momentum. Road Dogg's tagged in, only to be taken down by a knee to the gut, when James answers back with a Manhattan drop, a reverse running straddle, and a shimmy shake knee drop for a 2 count.
He just really wishes he was Dusty Rhodes. Mm-hmm. I know. I mean, as a kid, I didn't know Dusty Rhodes, but in hindsight, it's like he can talk. He can probably take a bump better than Dusty the majority of his career.
Yeah,
but
the whole shimmy shake thing. I hate when wrestlers do it now, and I think the only reason wrestlers do it now is because you got Road Dogg in back saying, "Do this, do this, do this," because he's.
Yeah, he also got it over at this.
Who does it now?
It's been a while since I've seen people do it, but who was the last that I've seen? Ricochet. They had him do it a couple of times.
Oh, yeah. So when he was in like NXT?
No, on SmackDown.
Oh wow.
Because I mean, Road Dogg is the
he's
lead on
doesn't-
SmackDown.
yeah. But the
I can just see that being something that he's pushing the new guys to do. In true Vince McMahon style of that's good shit. It's not. It never was. It worked
has anybody
in one match one time maybe, and that's it.
Has anybody gotten it over outside of Dusty and Road Dogg. Like, because anybody else that's done it, it's the only times that it got over was not because they do it all the time.
I mean, at this point, I think anyone who does it, everyone just kind of goes, "Oh, well, that's homage to
Dusty, yeah.
Dusty or Road Dogg."
But they're the two that got it over like on a regular basis. And now, if anybody does it, it's just a moment in the match for that purpose. But it's not like a staple of anybody's moveset.
Yeah,
as it should be. It's like Cody Rhodes can do it if he's really.
No, he just does the little punch roll up.
Yeah. But yeah, he doesn't overdo it, and it's one of those things.
I mean, that's the flip flop and fly.
That's what it is. Okay, I couldn't think of what it was called. I'm just like the spinning fist thing.
Yeah. Which is weird. It's called flip flop and fly.
Why is it called flip flop and fly?
Because Dusty Rhodes named it, and his mind is filled with ants. But that's also why we love him.
So Southern Justice works over Road Dogg with double teams, body slams, and elbow drops until James ducks a clothesline to fight back with a shake, rattle, and roll punches, only for Canterbury to counter with a clothesline. And Double J is brought back to stomp away, but he has his whip reversed, only for Road Dogg to telegraph his move. So Jarrett delivers a DDT for a near fall.
Bad sell from Road Dogg.
And another reversed whip sends Double J to a corner, bouncing back to James, who goes for a body slam. But Jarrett floats over and shoves Road Dogg into the turnbuckle, who bounces backwards into a charging Double J for a double KO. And James is about to tag in X-Pac, hitting kicks and chops to Jarrett, only for Canterbury to run in and catching the kid coming off the ropes and slamming him down. Double J and Southern Justice start working over the kid now, with suplexes, strikes, double teams, frequent tags, and ref distractions, keeping the momentum when X-Pac would rally to lock on a sleeper to Jarrett, only for Double J to counter it into a sleeper of his own, when the kid would escape with a back suplex and make the crawl for the hot tag. Gunn cleans house with right hands and clotheslines to everyone for a gorilla press slam to Jarrett, followed by charging at Canterbury, who back body drops Badass to the floor. And everyone jumps in the ring at this point, with X-Pac delivering a Bronco Buster to Double J. Goes to hit an X-Factor on Marc, who blocks and clotheslines the kid down, before rolling out to fight with Gunn. And Jarrett grabs his guitar when Badass runs around ringside to grab it away and knocking down Double J, before rolling him into the ring, where Canterbury is going for a pump handle slam on the kid, only for the ref to stop him by grabbing the weapon away. And X-Pac floats over on the slam, but he still gets clotheslined out to the floor, with Jarrett again grabbing the guitar to break over the head of the kid at ringside.
Beautiful execution.
Yep.
While Southern Justice and Gunn are fighting inside the ring, where Knight telegraphs a back body drop, allowing Badass to nail a not-so-famouser for the pin and the win.
They're still calling it the Rocker Dropper.
Yeah. Post-match, the Outlaws are celebrating when they realize that X-Pac is still down. So they go to check on him, where he's holding his eye, with the king saying there's a splinter in it.
Yep, we're just keeping up the Double J X-Pac. Because why not? It gets more people on the show.
Yep.
It puts a couple bucks in Canterbury and Knight's pocket.
Oh, Canterbury needs all the bucks he can get.
Yeah, and at least they're not slop bucketing people anymore.
JR sends it to a video package about our main event, where we get quick cuts of our competitors as Vince tells us that Stone Cold will defend the title versus both Undertaker and Kane in a triple threat match, which Lawler calls a brilliant master plan, while JR thinks Austin can't survive against those two monsters. And Stone Cold says he will take both of their asses on, because there ain't no way you'll ever finish off Austin. And we get more highlights of the brothers being the most destructive force in the WWF, teaming to take down Mark Henry, Rick Rude, Mankind, Vader, and numerous others. And Mr. McMahon would then add a stipulation, calling it not your normal triple threat, telling the brothers that they are prohibited from defeating each other, with Ross calling it a glorified handicap match. Now all 4 men are in the ring on Raw, with Vince telling Stone Cold that he screwed himself. So Austin attacks, leading to the brothers delivering a double chokeslam. And Taker would say it's nothing personal, just business. Only for Stone Cold to respond that's personal when you try to take his belt. So don't expect Austin 316. It will be Austin 666.
Hell yeah.
And the dead man wonders who Stone Cold is to warn them about anything. He should take a long look at what is standing in front of him, while McMahon guarantees Austin will no longer be the champion.
What was the guy that we watched in the past that had 666 in his name?
Damien.
Yeah.
Just making sure I was remembering right.
We cut to our announcers where JR doesn't like Stone Cold's odds, but the King is sick of hearing it, because Austin has a better chance, because he has more options of who to pin. For mentioning that another stipulation has been added, no one can interfere or Stone Cold will be stripped of the belt. Rawson sends it to footage from Heat, where Vince tried to set up a non-title cage match between Mark Henry and Austin, only for a crew member to lock himself in the cage with Mr. McMahon, followed by removing that wig to reveal Stone Cold, allowing him to beat down Vince.
I love this. I love this clip. If you were watching it this time, you saw this clip a bunch. It's so funny. It's so obvious. He's just in a jumpsuit. He has a cheap wig on. You can't mistake the profile of Stone Cold Steve Austin, which is crazy because his profile of his bald head sideways would just look like solid black clip art. But for some reason, we all would know that it's Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yep. It's like on the old Pokemon cartoon. We're like, guess that Pokemon. It's like, unless you're like 4, everybody knows if they played the video game which one that is, because they all have very distinctive shapes, which is part of the reason why this game works. But somehow Stone Cold Steve Austin looks like any dude ever, and you would still be able to tell that it's him.
The brothers would then climb into the cage to protect Mr. McMahon, so Austin tries to go out the door, but he locked it so well that he has to climb up and over to escape their wrath. And that was like literally the heat before the show as well.
Yeah.
So like Vince was like all out on trying to like punish Austin, Billy Gunn.
This is pay-per-view Sunday Night Heat. This is not the Sunday Night Heat that will in the future be just the show where we get to see hoe trains.
Yeah.
Which is how I remember it most.
This is the pre-show before there was a pre-show that you had to pay for.
So we go to our 9th match. Kane versus Undertaker versus Stone Cold Steve Austin in a triple threat match for the WWF Championship. And as Taker's making his entrance, Stone Cold runs out to clock him with a chair, bringing the Big Red Machine out to the entranceway to his aid, only to receive the same. And Austin brawls with Kane down to the ringside, running him into the post.
Posted.
Followed by turnbuckle smashes inside the ring. But the Big Red Machine answers back with a back elbow, a body slam, and a top rope something, which Stone Cold just sidesteps to avoid.
Oh, he's a big man. It was something. He did make contact.
And the dead man starts making his way to the ring with a chair in hand, while Austin hits a running straddle on Kane, before a reversed whip allows the Big Red Machine to toss Stone Cold out to the floor, right at the feet of the Undertaker, who takes over the attack with strikes, when Austin would reverse a whip to send Taker into the ring steps. And Stone Cold hotshots Kane on the ropes, followed by dragging him to a corner to crotch him several times and elbows across the throat. Back inside, Austin continues with strikes and a stunner. He makes the cover, but the dead man pulls Stone Cold off to break it up, leading to Austin being run into the post. And they make their way into the ring where Undertaker delivers turnbuckle smashes and strikes in a corner, only to run into a back elbow, with Stone Cold firing back. But a duck clothesline leads to Taker bouncing off the ropes with a leaping clothesline for a 2 count. Again, Austin rallies to take down the dead man with a Thez press and elbow drops, before clotheslining Kane out of the ring, just as he was getting to his feet, allowing Undertaker to attack from behind to regain control, only to telegraph a backdrop, so Stone Cold nails a swinging neckbreaker for a near fall.
You can't be telegraphing backdrops in a high-profile match, guys. Didn't you see the 7 matches before this?
And the Big Red Machine begins to climb to the apron, so Austin knocks him down again. But when he's tossed to the ropes, Kane trips Stone Cold up and drags him outside to deliver strikes.
Demon.
When Taker would join the fray, but Austin ducks, causing the Big Red Machine to take the blow. And the brothers begin to argue, allowing Stone Cold to shove them down and choke Kane with a cable. But the dead man grabs the cable as well to choke Austin. And the brothers team up to hotshot Stone Cold onto the Spanish announce table.
Ay, Dios mío.
Which leads to them just working Austin over, in and out of the ring with strikes, chokes, and clotheslines. And the Stooges have walked out. They're watching the match from the entranceway as Undertaker continues the punishment with head slams into the apron and running their opponent into the railing, even as Stone Cold tries to escape towards the entrance. And Austin fires up with right hands and kicks on both brothers, going for a pile driver, but Taker reverses it into a back body drop onto the concrete.
Yeah, I just love that the fans just want to touch him. That's how over he is. They're just like reaching out. And maybe the best sign ever seen from a Attitude Era show, and that really just tells you exactly where the wrestling fan was in 1998. It just says America is gay. And I legitimately laughed out loud while watching the show because I wasn't ready for it.
As the gay guy watching the show, I saw the sign that said "Suck the rocks."
yeah. It was just funny. 1998 was a simpler time.
It was.
For better or worse.
The brothers keep up the attack when Stone Cold sees the Stooges, so he goes after them, beating down Jared Briscoe, only for the brothers to stop him and dragging Austin down their entranceway back to the ring. In the Big Red Machine and the Dead Man with double teams, Stone Cold fights back momentarily, only to be taken down by a shot to the throat by the Undertaker. And Austin rolls out to the floor to regroup, where he grabs the chair, smashing Kane over the head and jumping into the ring to make a cover. But Taker breaks it up with a chair shot of his own. And the Dead Man makes the cover, only for the Big Red Machine to pull him off, leading to the brothers having a disagreement.
Face to face.
But they work together again for Kane to hit a top rope sledgehammer to a held Stone Cold. And the Big Red Machine then makes the cover, with Undertaker now breaking it up by pulling Kane off, which again leads to them staring each other down.
I mean, at this point we kind of know where it's going, right? Who knows?
Just when you think
I have a feeling they're trying to tell us something.
Just when you think they're gonna zig,
maybe they'll zag.
they zag.
The Big Red Machine turns to go back to work on Austin, only for Taker to attack from behind. But he charges into a big boot, allowing Stone Cold to get back in the fight with ping-pong punches of the Dead Man.
Don't forget the double bird.
Followed by a big boot from Kane and a clothesline that sends Undertaker outside. Austin then chokes the Big Red Machine on the ropes before a side Russian leg sweep for the pin. And no, Kane kicks out.
Stooge still watching on.
Stone Cold's dropped by a headbutt for the Big Red Machine, which brings Taker back in to kick Austin to the floor. Followed by the two brothers having a conversation to get back on the same page. And Kane rams Stone Cold into the steel steps and the railing before tossing him back into the ring, where both brothers go for pins, with the other breaking it up, leading to more family discussion and brawling, ending in a double clothesline for a double KO.
Bum bum bum.
And Austin uses the opening to stomp down both men, whipping them into each other, which knocks the Dead Man out of the ring, allowing Stone Cold to focus on the Big Red Machine, only to be caught on a whip into a tombstone attempt. But Austin wiggles free and shoves Kane into the ropes, where Undertaker has climbed to the top, causing him to crotch himself.
His little skulls.
Stone Cold goes for the stunner on the Big Red Machine, only to block and shove Austin off to the corner, where Taker gets a boot up. The brothers then nail a double chokeslam, with both men making the cover for the pin and the win.
And new. A whole lot of nothing.
Post-match, the Fiend goes silent in the middle of the announcement, as he doesn't know who to declare the winner, with the confusion even dumbfounding the announcers. Vince then comes out, sending Briscoe to retrieve the belt, with Mr. McMahon then retreating to the back. And Stone Cold gives chase, beating down the Stooges as he goes, as they only slow the pursuit, giving Vince time to escape to his limo and driving off. And Austin finally makes it backstage, where Mr. McMahon's now at the top of the ramp out of the building.
So good.
Standing outside the limo and holding the title, yelling at Stone Cold, "You don't have it anymore. It's mine."
And then, of course, he gives Austin some of his own medicine.
Yep.
Flipping Austin off and driving away as JR says his goodbyes, and we fade to black.
What is it about Vince McMahon giving the middle finger that just made my heart smile so much when I saw it?
Because he is maybe the best modern television wrestling heel of all time.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of undeniable, whether you like it or not. Because
I do.
I mean, we'll go through it, but I don't remember ever a time where he was cheered when he was playing this character for like 4 years or whatever. It's like a lot of the times a heel is so good at being a heel that they eventually have to go face.
Yeah.
Like we've seen with The Rock, like we've seen with Stone Cold. Like those are two extreme examples, but there's smaller examples of it as well. But McMahon has that magic of being so good at it, but also having all the cards in his hand. So he doesn't ever have to turn, because he can always be the bad guy, because he's always the authority figure. And it's 1998, and I don't know if you remember, but everybody had big pants, and they did not like authority.
Yeah.
And by everybody, I mean, the like popular culture, I guess.
Yep.
ICP never would have worked in the 80s, and never would have worked in the early 90s. It could have only ever worked in like 97 to 2002, and that's why this works here too. It's just the sweet spot of just the general vibe of the country.
I don't even know if I want to say the post-grunge apocalypse.
It is the post-grunge apocalypse. That's the perfect way to put it, I think.
So I ask you, gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts of Breakdown in Your House?
I mean, it's a fun show. I still wish that In Your House events were shorter, but they really do pack it in. Like I said, no real comments. We're in the era that allowed WWE to become a billion-dollar company, whether you like it or not. Like it's shows like this that allowed that to happen, because somehow everything is working for everybody in the arena, for all 17,000 people and all 300,000 people at home that purchased it. And that's 300,000 buys. All of those living rooms were full. There was at least 4 people in each living room watching that show. And there might have been some smart fans in there that hate watched it, but I can guarantee you that was a very low percentage, and that everybody was in.
I'm in agreement with the I wish In Your Houses were a little bit shorter. This one just, I don't know, it just wasn't, it felt like a really long episode of Raw. Like at the beginning of it, I thought, I totally forgot that I was watching an In Your House, and I paused it and was like, oh yeah, this isn't Raw.
Yeah, it does. It looks like Raw, and it feels like a Raw. It just has a little bit less of the like angle interviews and big angles in the ring where everybody's talking. So we get more wrestling, which is nice because I do like wrestling.
Yeah.
I don't think any of it here was particularly bad. But did anything wow you?
No.
I mean, we're all on the same page here. This is a very average show. Only a couple of the matches really meeting the importance that a pay-per-view brings, like to the quality that you want from a pay-per-view match.
It's kind of like a heat check. They're like, hey, how into this is everybody?
Yeah.
What if we put this show out and like if it comes back with like 2 thumbs up and everybody tunes in the next day, then we know we've got them by the balls.
A lot of the matches, actually, a lot in like the first half of the show, like the first 5 matches, really just feel thrown together. Mm-hmm. Like they had not a whole lot of purpose.
Yeah.
It's like they thought, well, we've got this main event here, so just...
We have the cage match, we have the main event, so like we can just basically put on like extended Raw matches.
Like literally, if they had done the shorter In Your House and they had just taken the last 5 matches, it would have been a much better show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, like the thing is that every single match, people were loud. There was no like quote unquote piss match on the show.
And the thing, none of the matches are bad. You're completely correct.
Yeah,
none of them are bad.
But just for the sake of like our personal enjoyment.
Gangrel D'Lo is kind of the piss match.
It kind of is, but the people were into it.
Just because of the people that were in it.
Yeah. But
no, it's Mero and Droz, guys.
No, yeah, I forgot. That's how
that's how unforgettable
that's the epitome of we're just throwing these 2 guys out there because we need another match.
Because we're kind of over Mero and we're.
Oh yeah, you got him back just in time.
We're
for
cooling
Vader
him off.
and Bradshaw, so.
Which I thought Vader and Bradshaw was really fun.
Better than I expected it to be.
I just hate that. I've talked about it at length. Everybody knows how I feel about Vader. Mm-hmm. I love him dearly.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? All right. Fuck you.
I think it's time we smark it up. So, what are some of the best moments of this show?
The Jarrett guitar shot.
It was maybe the best Jarrett guitar shot we've seen, and he's kind of the king of hitting people over the head with a guitar. I really loved the moments where The Rock and Mankind worked together. Yes. They got a little smirk on my face when those happened.
Edge and Owen was much better than it probably ever should have been.
Yeah.
Well, you got one guy who we know can go and never gets asked to do very much, and then we have another guy who is young and feels like he has a bright future and needs to prove himself. So there's nobody else better to do that with than Owen Hart. Yeah. So it was, you could feel the excitement of the people in the ring.
Mankind's response to the sugar testes.
Yeah, Mankind in general during that.
Mankind's entire interview was
great.
Yeah.
Calling the people's elbows the stupidest move ever.
I legitimately popped. I was like, yeah.
Terry's looking better than she's looked in quite a while.
Yeah, it's nice to see her do less of the gold slut and more of the street slut.
The vixen for the Venis. Just the fact that we still have Vader on our TV screens, because in my mind I don't remember him after 1996. I kind of thought when he had his moment on Raw, that episode, I think it was Raw, where he
called himself a big piece of shit.
Called himself a big fat piece of shit.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of the end of Vader as we knew it, and
instead,
here we are about a year later.
Yeah, and now they're using him to put over the guy that we all saw got knocked fucking into the future by a man who will never, who may never be on this show again. I'm just kidding, but nobody remembers Marc Gunn.
Obviously our top 2 matches of the night are the number 1 contender, Steel Cage, and the main event.
Yep.
They're both fantastic matches that are worth watching, both of them.
They're...
Just to see, literally in the evolution of Shamrock and The Rock in that one match alone.
It's insane.
Because Shamrock gets cheers as he comes out, and by the end... people are
Shamrock sucks as a champ.
Shamrock sucks.
And
Rock
is over.
Is the cheers are there, but they're massive when he wins.
Yeah, we've been seeing The Rock like I said, a month ago he was getting booed. Maybe it was 2 months ago, but people have been warming up to him, and they've been moving him in that direction. Like I said, when they showed that clip of him standing up to Undertaker and Kane, I was like, oh, that's genius and simple. It's wrestling, but it's just at the right time. And here, if The Rock lost this match, there may have been a riot. They may have burnt the fucking building down. He is, at this point, he is, like at the end of this show, he is one step below Austin already.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, knowing now what we know, that Austin's not going to be the champion at the end of the night, I could have seen him going with Mankind.
Yeah, but while I'm watching the show and I don't know that, I'm just like, oh, Rock has to win. But I think that they have to keep them apart for a little longer.
Yeah.
So that's smart.
Yeah, they definitely need to keep them.
In hindsight, that's incredibly smart, because I was like, well, if Austin has the title, he's the number one contender, we can't take that off of Austin right now. That's not good for The Rock. It'll be good for a short amount of time, but it won't be good for longevity. But he could take that belt off of anybody else, and Kane and Undertaker are your two most believable champions at this moment.
How about most disappointing?
I guess the Dustin being sad thing is getting old.
Yeah, I'm tired of crying Dustin Rhodes, Dustin Runnels.
Yeah.
I thought the final tag match, the 6-man tag, was a little sloppy at spots.
Yeah.
The whole grab, because at the very end of that match, they grab the guitar, and then it gets stolen away and taken outside to hit someone.
Yeah. Dennis Knight, I think, steals it for a second, and I was like, wait a second, shouldn't this be wrapping up? Why does Jeff not have the guitar?
Yeah.
And then a minute later, he gets it back. Yeah.
It was just kind of messy.
Yeah.
That's the word
I
would want to use.
It wasn't terrible, but it helps that DX is so over. Crowd energy is a lot. But yeah, I did make a mental note of that when that happened. I was like, it's like, we're obviously going home. Why does Dennis Knight have the guitar? Or it could have been Marc. But
why is Dennis Knight doing anything other than just out on the outside brawling with someone to
allow
to be occupied so the focus can be on
so Jarrett can get the guitar and bring it in.
Yeah.
Yep.
Or I guess at this point, he took the famouser to get the pin to get pinned.
Yeah.
That's really what Dennis Knight needs to be doing.
But hey, maybe they just had some confusion, and I imagine Jarrett probably put the majority of this together. Maybe he, spoke under his breath and got it back on track.
I mean, I don't know if I don't know if I'm super disappointed about really much.
Because it's a very watchable show. No, it's just not.
Everything's fine.
It doesn't feel like a pay-per-view, and some of the stuff just went a little too long for me.
Yeah, I don't think anything's bad, but nothing feels necessary. And the most necessary things are for
what stepped up to the level of a pay-per-view.
Yeah, or for historical research purposes. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, that's not the best match that any of these guys had, but if you're trying to track somebody's career and the minutia of it, then there's a lot of stuff here. But if you're trying to see the Rock, the Mankind, Kane, Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin's greatest matches, none of these are making the list, but they're important pieces in between the matches. They end up making those kinds of lists.
Well, how about best performer of the night?
I gotta. That's a tough one.
I agree that
Foley.
I think it's either Foley or Rock for me.
Yeah,
I'm gonna give it to Foley because I hate the people's elbow.
He did take that chair shot.
I mean, Shamrock I think is incredible, but I mean, the Shamrock sucks thing broke my heart, but
maybe
it also
sensation.
No, I mean they were okay impressions, but
you couldn't do better.
If I wasn't looking at the TV, I might not have known.
Yeah. His Undertaker one was impressive because I feel like that's the hardest one to do. The thing about Undertaker and Kane is that they're such solid hands and solid characters that they'll never be them like MVP of the show because they kind of exist to let people rise to the occasion that is them. Yeah. It's like, oh, did you climb the giant concrete wall? And there's two of them, like, and they're always, they're rock solid because it's a rock. It is what it is, but they never always good, but never exceed expectations. And like Mick Foley has enough to, number one, he's a great promo, but his character can evolve like just like slightly, get a little bit goofier or a little bit more serious in any direction on any show, and it's always compelling. Where the Undertaker is going to have to be the Undertaker.
Yep.
So I don't know. Who was yours, Matt?
I mean, I think it's either Foley or Rock. I mean, if you include Foley's interview, I think it's probably him. If you just go for
in ring,
then it's probably The Rock.
Yeah.
Because I think he did the most with what he had.
I mean, he's the walking away. Rock shirts are selling at the next show, in probably probably at least 30% more. Or they just made a couple designs on Monday morning in the office in Titan Tower. They're like, we need to get to our merch department because we got Rock shirts to sell. So I guess we can give it to him, even though I hate the double people's elbow.
Most electrifying move in sports entertainment.
Yeah.
Which almost feels like he's just
making fun of the people for supporting him.
Yeah. but hey, I mean, there's something to be said about getting the most out of the least. I'm looking at a couple people, a Terry Bollea, Dwayne Johnson.
Okay.
I was almost called him Rocky Maivia as if that was his real name.
And how about most surprising?
The reintroduction of the women's belts, the way they did.
I mean, that's
just like, here you go. You're a champion.
Here it is.
I guess so, because there's nothing crazy surprising on this show, and I think that's a good call. I was not surprised that Vader lost. Just upset.
Or the obvious lengths that they went to make Bradshaw look like a superstar, just as he was standing there doing his.
Good call. I'm going with that.
Speak.
Going with that one. And this is the best he's looked, but when I was watching this and taking my notes, I was like, does nobody remember that he just got knocked fucking silly on television? We saw.
We asked what happened. Like, nothing. We took you. We got your hair done. See, look how pretty it is. We even got you a spray tan.
Yeah. We saw him go up like a full 15 or maybe 50 percentage points to CTE from that knockout.
Yeah.
That was honestly maybe the craziest thing I've seen watching WWF on this podcast. Like, that might be crazier than Mankind jumping off of just because they zoom in on him and he's just not there. There's like not a human behind those. And we know Mick Foley, there might not be a human for a while, but he didn't he got dragged out at the end, but he climbed up and fell back through and then had a full match afterwards.
Making their way to the ring.
It's trivia time. Woo. This week the category is The Champ is Here.
The champ is here! The champ is here!
You get 5 points for a correct answer, 3 points if we go to multiple choice. I will give you the show and a championship. You will give me who the champion was at the end of that show.
Okay.
So the show is In Your House 1.
Oh, shit.
And the belt is the WWF World Tag Team Championship.
Tag Team Champions, In Your House 1. Ooh.
So that's 95.
Sir.
I'm willing to go to buzz for multiple choice if you are.
Yeah, because I'm like,
I don't feel
sitting
comfortable
here
enough.
trying to think of who the fuck was the tag team champions back then, and I'm clueless.
Tag team champions no longer existed in I feel like DX world now, but between the Rockers and DX, was there anything memorable?
So multiple choice?
So let's find out. Let's find out if there is.
All right.
Because we're drawing blanks.
Your options are the 1, 2, 3 Kid and Bob Holly.
Okay.
Owen Hart and Yokozuna.
Okay.
The Smoking Guns.
Oh, yeah.
Or Two Dudes with Attitude.
Yeah, go for it.
Yoko Owen.
That is correct.
Okay. I was torn between Yoko Owen and 1, 2, 3 and Holly.
Was he Spark Plug then?
No, I think he was just good old Bob Holly
Yeah.
at that point.
Where's he been? Because we know we'll see him soon-ish. Within the next, year or so, he becomes a guy.
He's probably hitting the
On the
gym,
show?
buying some peroxide.
Probably on Heat.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's just been so long.
Next week, WWF Monday Night Raw. From September 28th, 1998.
Yeah.
It's the day after, right?
It is the day after.
Yeah. So,
The aftermath. We'll find out what's going on.
I mean, we have to find out what Vince McMahon wants to do with that title he walked away with. We know who he doesn't want to put it on.
Correct. Music from this week's show is Bushwhacked by Jim Johnson. And I found a mashup of Burned and Dark Side, both by Jim Johnston. Puts both songs together because both Kane and Undertaker won the match. So I was like, this would be fun to play.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
All right.
The Demons of Destruction.
Yeah, the Demons of Destruction. If you like this episode or any of our other ones, please go out there and rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you find your podcasts at. Do as Michael says.
This might have been a 3.5-star show, but give ours a 5.
If you have any questions, comments, concerns,
Yeah, where are we going next? We're going to Detroit. Help. Where should I go for Detroit? What should I bring? What do you eat when you go to Detroit?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean it's Michigan, so we gotta figure out something. I guess mom's spaghetti.
Detroit style pizza.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's Detroit style pizza. There's Detroit style cones. I guess. I think those are probably just regular old cones. But yeah, give me some ideas. What the fuck do you eat in Detroit other than Detroit style pizza and mom's spaghetti?
One more thing. I said this may have been a 3.5-star show. I mean the pay-per-view. Ours was 5 stars.
That's right. We drank cotton candy bubbly for you, damn it.
If you have any of those things, you can email us at WrestlingHistoryX@gmail.com or find us on X at WrestlingHistoX. That's Wrestling HISTOX. We'll talk to you next week.
Later.
He didn't roll his eyes.
Oh.